Good evening and welcome to Talking Hoops. It's your girl, Coach T, joined by the lovely Coach Mac and the infamous Doc Riley. And I know we missed last week, but we're happy to be back this week. A lot of things to talk about. It's a lot of commotion in the basketball world right now. And, Coach Mac, Coach Riley, one thing that I had to start with tonight because I am beside myself at this point with some of these post game interviews that the NBA players are doing. And just recently, Paul George, okay, as we know, the Sixers having struggling with some injuries. They've been kind of struggling with injuries ever since the start of season. As we know, Embiid and George missed a good portion of the first half of this season. Post game interview, Paul George goes in an interview and says, I don't know, I think I'm just bored playing the five. And I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this because I, at this point, I just don't understand. I don't understand. I have never heard a basketball player say that they are bored playing the five. If you love the game, it don't matter what position you normally play, as long as you're out there on the floor, you're going to show up and compete, as that's the expectation. That's what you get paid millions to do. But to go in a press game conference and say that you're bored, I, I mean, at this point, do they love basketball? Is there what's happening here?
Riley, you want to share your thoughts from a guard perspective?
Yeah, yes, I want to share my thoughts. When you say bored, how many championships does he have, Coach T?
He's looking at goose egg.
That's, so when you talking about bored, I mean that is really an insult when you don't have any championships. So what you bored about? That lets me know your level of seriousness. Number one. Number two, your standard, which is not a championship level standard, which is the reason why the NBA has fallen off so much. Is because of attitudes and mentalities like Paul George. And you know what? I had a pair of Paul Georges. And when he came out that statement, I had never, I had started a bonfire with his shoes when I heard that statement. Literally.
Coach Mac.
I don't understand how a player could say they are bored playing any position because we all know playing a five is extremely physical. There's a lot more running, especially you're going from one end of the floor to the opposite end of the floor. And so for him to not play that type of physicality previously, it should be something different, which would, in my mind, I would think, okay, this is different. It takes a lot more thinking, a lot more moving, and things such as that. So I don't understand how he could say that he's bored. I mean, unless you just literally sitting there, like we've seen some players do,
Hmm.
watching the ball, watching everything happen, watching other people rebound. So if he's just sitting there, okay, yeah. So if you're sitting there being bored, that right there in itself should tell you what type of player you are, what type of player you should be, and the fact that you're not doing anything and that you're telling the world that you're not doing anything.
Absolutely. I think there's
Let
an
me add this
overarching.
too, Coach T.
Oh,
Let me interject something here.
mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Uh, the forward position or five position is somewhat boring back in the day, but now they're playing from the perimeter. Look at Joel Embiid and all these guys. So I really think that he had a bad day, uh, and the reason for him staying there. So I just can't give my man Paul George. I'm gonna give him a reprieve this time only. I think he was having a bad day, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I,
Oh
I
no, you're
expect a
good.
lot more out of Paul George.
He said so. Let me say this. So this was his reason because he said he's so used to chasing players that he wasn't chasing anybody as far as going from one side to the other side chasing guards. It still doesn't make sense to me, but that was the
Now,
reason that
now,
he
Coach
gave.
Matt, Now, Coach Mack, now I've never seen anyone accuse Paul George of being a hellified defender. I've never seen that now.
That was his reason. It was not my
maybe,
reason. It was
maybe,
his reason.
maybe y'all seeing something that I didn't see. I don't know.
Now listen, Coach Riley, I saw him get dunked on, excuse me, to a dunk by Paulo Banchero.
Ooh, that was nasty.
It was almost a welcome to the league kind of dunk. I mean, just bump Paul George like he wasn't 6'7", 6'8". Bumped him right on out the way. And this is what I don't understand. You know, we have a comment that just came in from Ben Johnson saying, let's be real. The game of basketball devalued the five position. Is he just being real? And I think this emphasizes our point of how could you be bored when the traditional five position doesn't even exist anymore. Your five man is shooting threes. They're dribble crossover moves to a pull up jumper. I mean, these are the most athletic and agile fives that we have seen in the game. You know, we haven't seen.
And you know what? Go
Go
ahead. Go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say we haven't seen a five this agile, that was a that could also be a dominant force, right? Like we're not saying that Jokic is probably the closest to a traditional five, and there's nothing traditional about Jokic from the five spot, right? If you compare
True.
Jokic to a Shaquille O'Neal, a true five man once he gained that weight, because in Orlando, Shaq used to catch it off the backboard and go coast to coast. But
That's right.
when he became kind of he embodied that role of that traditional I'm posting up on the block, back to the basket moves, that just doesn't exist anymore. So to say you're bored, it now makes me question, like, what motivates you to suit up every night and go out there? Like what is the motivation here? And the overarching issue now that brings me to the next question is the guaranteed contracts impacting the true passion and love for the game right now?
Yes,
The
absolutely.
guaranteed contract is for one reason, and the NBA is for one reason:
Get that
get
money.
money.
Get-
Period.
Get get
It's
that
all about
money.
getting money. Without proving anything, without it just hey, I'm just gonna get money based on potential. And Michael Jordan said it best. As a matter of fact, he said it on Oprah Winfrey show when he and Charles Barkley was speaking at that time. That's so crazy not to speak. But anyway, uh, he said that anytime you give anybody all this money without them working for it, it kind of lessens the work ethic, and it gives them a sense of entitlement. So that's what this is coming from. So he's entitled. How you be bored with all these millions? Maybe you need to come work a 9 to 5 job. I guarantee you he'll run back to the league then. Guaranteed. Playing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the 6. So
Create a position.
No, I do agree. I mean, it's a serious cause for concern, right? And also just speaks to the current state that basketball is in. And that, to me, that is loser words. And I'm sorry if somebody's offended by that, but to say you're bored, that's the words of coming from the mouth of a loser. And like you said, Coach Riley, what has he won? Because that is nothing. We would have never heard Kobe Bryant say anything like that. It doesn't matter what position he would have played, a Michael Jordan, a Magic Johnson. We would have never heard these guys say, I'm bored, because they have to temporarily play out of position. That is just purely a losing mindset.
So let me state this also because it's just a thought about the NBA expanding to overseas. And as I discussed with you guys, how viewership has decreased, but salaries are increasing. But the NBA is also trying to expand to countries like Africa, in which they actually do have NBA Africa.
Hmm.
Um, China is another market that they're trying to branch into, and some other place in Europe. I can't remember exactly what it is. But just thinking about that, how they're attracting overseas, what do you guys think? the NBA goal really is if they're trying to market more overseas. And yet the USA is just terrible basketball, period.
Money. I think it's
Coach
all about
T,
money.
we finally agreed on something. Yes, Coach T, we finally agreed on something. That's
But do
it. That
but do
is
you
it.
think that NBA is really trying to find a way to get back or get to real basketball by trying to expand to these markets?
Now, real quick, Coach Riley, I'll go ahead and jump in real quick, but I think that, I think it's hard to say. A part of me would like to say yes, but also I think there's also kind of that nagging sound in the back of their head of Americans are not interested in this basketball that we're currently playing, right? So how can we expand, because contracts won't continue to go up if viewership is going to continue going down. You're going to have people, that plays into some of the money that they make, is those TV deals that, they're getting a piece of that
Mhm,
money now. So not having the viewers, losing engagement and fans, I think there's a hope that if we take this overseas and we expand it, we can put more eyes on it. And that will,
mhm.
again, feed back into assisting. I don't know if they're truly trying to change it. And it'll be interesting because overseas basketball, um, they don't play. They it's more of a team game. It's definitely
Right.
it's way less one-on-one style. One-on-one is not valued highly there overseas. It's definitely more of a team oriented game and style of play, and it's also a lot more physical.
Mhm,
It's a lot of physicality that goes on. I mean, I remember when they said that, they felt like Dellavedova, who's from Australia, they felt like he was a dirty player, and that they said he was dirty because Dellavedova was willing to dive on the floor for loose balls. He doesn't care if, you guys might bump trying to go for the loose ball. He's willing to sacrifice himself to get the job done. But when you have a whole country that values that style of play, how does that impact this style of play where these players don't even like getting touched?
at all.
You know, they want to call a flagrant
Hey,
one if you if
you
you
know, you
blow
know
on
what?
somebody too hard.
Hey, I don't know what you own tonight, Coach T, but you own it tonight. You are really on it. I'm gonna agree everything Coach T just said, but I'm gonna add one more thing to it. And think about this: the NBA, I mean, overseas is not the problem. The players from overseas are not the problem. Every
Mhm,
overseas player that you know never said anything about I'm bored, I'm this, I'm that.
mhm,
American players are the problem. So the reason they're trying to extend is to get more of these players like Jokic or the kid from Dallas and things like that, so they can have a better league. Because when LeBron James and when he started his new league, hint hint,
mm,
when he started his new
mm,
league, uh, the NBA got to do something.
They got to do
mhm.
So,
something.
How competitive do you
hey,
think
Coach Mack, I
LeBron's
heard.
league will actually be, though? Since it basically is a male
Hey,
version
Coach
of the
Mack,
unrivaled league.
Coach, Coach Mack, I
I'm
heard
listening.
Coach T was in cahoots with LeBron James, so she should tell you something about that.
Now,
But
Come on, come clean, Coach T. Come clean.
now, Coach Riley, I sure wish I was a part of some of that big money. Sure would love to be in cahoots with some of that big money talk. As you know, Coach Mack, you mentioned about the league being similar to Unrivaled. They're attempting to raise $5 billion to get the league started, where it'll be six women teams and six men teams,
mhm,
and they'll compete, across the world. Now, I don't know. I don't know how this will compete with NBA because, again, what is the demand for this?
mhm.
Are we just going to watch the
But
same
you know what?
basketball but played overseas? I don't want to see 10 threes, 10 possessions and 8 of them were 3-point shots.
You know what, Coach T, you exactly right. But think about this. When you're talking about uh, raising $5 million or $5 billion, anytime you have to raise money to support a league, then I'm looking at how you going to sustain that. Then the next year
Hmm.
you got to do the same thing. Then the next year, then the next year. So, and you talking about an entertainment sport. So if you have to raise something and you're supposed to be an entertainer, come on now, just do the math on that. I don't think it's going to last long. And then, like you say, I don't. We have the best facilities over here. So why would we? We can extend to be an expansion in Africa and all the other places like they have done in the past, but it's not going to work as a standalone overseas. I don't believe so.
Yeah, right. And to basically agree with what you're stating, since Africa, the lead has been in, I think it's his fourth season, going on its fifth season. Um, but even that, they've lost a lot of money over the years within that because of that league. Although they've had, more viewers to come, but investors have backed out. They even mentioned about Barack Obama being an investor. However, he really haven't pretty much contributed as much. And then even the CEO, he's no longer the CEO. He stepped down.
Mm.
So it's been quite interesting that this is something that the NBA has actually been, I guess you can say, involved with since a while, but they finally established the league within the past few years. Um, but yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. Like you said, Riley, is probably not going to last, considering what all is being put into it and what's coming out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I do have to agree. Real quick, we have a comment from Ben. Do you guys believe Nike, Adidas, and etc. are dictating the style of play based on shoe deals and exposure?
Oh yeah, they even have a say in AAU basketball. So
The,
of course, they're the biggest behind all of it,
oh
basketball
gosh.
period. So yeah,
Listen, because if I'm giving you these millions and
That's what's
billions,
got it like it is now.
yeah.
if I'm giving you these
That's
millions,
what's got it like it is now.
I'm definitely getting a say. That's how they're operating, is that they're definitely getting a say. But speaking of things declining, I want to mention about some recent comments from Steph Curry. Okay. And recently he was, they're right now, Golden State, as of right now, not a championship contending team. Okay. We do not expect to see them uh in the Western Conference Finals. Okay. So they asked Steph Curry essentially, does he, he's obviously frustrated. Does he want to become a championship contending team? And he made a comment that he does, but not at the expense of trading other players. And I wanted to see what you guys thought about that. And like, where do you draw the line of, you know, working with what you have versus making the necessary trades to become a championship team? Is his comment sound kind of like retirement talk? Has he given up on the idea that he can
No,
get another championship?
no, he's just not related to LeBron James. That's it.
Now,
LeBron scouted all
what's
over
this
the
got to
country
do
to
with
build teams.
LeBron?
Think about it. Who started? Hey, KD, come. Hey, Dwayne Wade, can we? Hey, Chris Bosh, can we go to Miami and win a championship? So he did the same thing at the Lakers. So Steph Curry, he's won his titles. He had his team that the management picked, and now he's just gonna ride it out. I mean, it is what it is.
So that means
I can
that's
respect him for that.
that sounds like retirement talk to me, Coach Mac.
He getting up
Not
there now.
really. That's not retire. That. I mean, he can stay in the league. All he's doing is shooting the ball. All he's
Well,
doing is
yeah, that's
shooting.
true.
He's not blocking out. He's rebounding. He's just shooting.
Well, I mean,
So he's not going to go across the country. Go ahead.
now, now, Riley, we all know the older you get, it don't take much for anything to break. So he getting up there,
Speak
even
for
though he
yourself.
just shooting.
Speak for yourself, old lady.
I can't, saying? Because I can just raise up and I got a crooked my neck. So just saying.
Now,
Sound like retirement talk to me.
now listen, because Coach Riley, I got a question for you. Now, let's say you're Steph Curry, you're
Okay.
on this team. You just lost to Boston by 40 points, and you were the only player to
Whew.
hit double digits with 18 points. Everybody else 6, 7, 8 points. And you look at your team and you say, wow, like this is the best it gets. Is I have a team full of scrubs. And they say you
Depressing.
have an opportunity to make a decision. If you want to try and compete for a championship, we would have to add some pieces and get rid of some pieces. You're telling me you would say, nah, leave them there. I'm going to ride it out and continue losing games by 40 plus points because I'm accepting the fact that I have scrubs on my team. You telling me that you would be
No,
willing to do that?
no, ma'am. What I'm saying to you is this: Steph, Steph Curry has a job to get points every night. Correct? There's
Yep.
somebody in the front office that's job is to go out and find players to mesh with Steph Curry. It's easy. He's a shooter. He's gonna score. How hard is it to go get a secondary shooter, a big that can rebound and set a screen and score in the paint? How hard is that? Somebody's not doing their job. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying Steph Curry is not gonna be like LeBron, calling guys up. Hey, bro, hey, come play with me. No, he's not that type of dude, and I respect him for that.
Coach Mac,
I
what
mean,
you
I can
doing,
see your
Coach Mac?
point. Look, we got to make some changes because
Well, listen, listen.
we can't
I
keep
can
looking at this 40 piece every other night.
Let me
This
tell
ain't
you, Coach Mac, every time the Warriors on, I see Steph smack that chair when he's coming on a timeout. Yeah, yeah, I see the chair smack and the
ball
slump
thrown up in
down
the
in the
air.
chair. Yeah, we're seeing that every game. Okay, so you just gonna run yourself to the ground. I'm not saying be
You
like
don't.
LeBron,
Hey,
even though
Coach T,
LeBron didn't
Coach
start
T,
it.
hey, Coach T, who started it? Don't go there. Please don't go there because you know my man didn't start it. Jordan didn't
Yo,
start it.
your
But
man was a
anyway,
part of it. Your man said, "I
look,
need some pieces to
on
win because I done
look,
lost the first seven
look,
times."
exactly. Who did he told front office. He told Reinsdorf and all those guys. Steph Curry, just like just like y'all see Steph getting frustrated. The front office is seeing Steph getting frustrated. They got to do something about it. That's their job.
Yeah,
And
facts.
rightfully so. Rightfully so. It's always front office. There's always this assumption that the players control who comes and who stays. Ultimately, it is front office decision. But if I'm Steph
Only
Curry,
LeBron, Coach T.
I'm
Only
on the
LeBron.
phone with the front office. Like if y'all don't do something, and I mean do something quick, something needs to happen,
I agree
but
with that.
something needs to happen. And Mama Davis has entered the chat. I did see her
Hey,
notification pop up, but um moving along again back to Steph Curry because Eric Paschal, I might be butchering his name a little bit, recently made some comments regarding Steph Curry and how difficult it is playing with him. And I think this is something that people have always just assumed that this is a LeBron thing, right? Playing with LeBron because every player that leaves and ends up going play somewhere else, they say it was difficult playing with him. You have to play in his system. Well, he recently said that while he was on the up and up and having a great start to his career, he started playing for the Warriors and requested to come off the bench because of how difficult it was playing with Steph Curry and simply the fact that the entire system is only made for Steph. And I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this because I think that this is applicable to wherever you go and you're joining another player's team where the team has been built around them specifically. As D'Lo just made some comments as well, but I'll come back to D'Lo because I need to single D'Lo out. I need to single him out.
I'm telling you, you bringing all these little third tier players. Did they get drafted? They came from the G League. What are you talking about, Coach T? You were going good. You deload all these players. Who said that about Steph Curry? Who said that about Steph Curry? I want to know.
Eric, what's his last name, Coach Mac?
Pascal.
Pascal.
Okay, so listen to that. Do he even the audacity for him to say anything? Dude, this is Steph Curry. You better be grateful. A matter of fact, I'm gonna tell Steph. I'm gonna send Steph a text and let me handle Eric. He don't even have an NBA name, Eric. Come on now.
Wait, we know some Erics that was in the NBA.
Right. Don't do Eric Snow
Like
like
what?
that.
Huh?
I said, don't do
Yeah.
Eric Snow like that.
I mean, I think he should just make the best and the most out of his opportunity because there's not many players that get that opportunity. First off, to even play with Steph. You got some G League players that still come up and do a really good job. I say Brandon Fajinski. He came from G League. And you saw the difference that he made at the point guard position, and two, I think he played two guard as well. So I mean, it's all about what you do. You can't complain because you coming in knowing a Steph team. So it's your job to fit in, not his job to fit into your role. So that's the first mistake.
I
But
know who would be a perfect fit for Steph.
Who?
I know who would be a perfect fit. Y'all read my mind. Tell me, read my mind.
Who are you talking about, Coach Mac?
Bronny James.
you know what? Now I agree with you on that one. I think they would do they would be a good fit.
I'm
I like to
telling
see
you.
that.
I'm
I
Now,
like
why
to
telling
see
is
you.
that?
that.
Coach T don't see it.
But look how they did in the
Coach
Olympics.
T does not see that.
Oh, with LeBron James going and Steph
Are you?
Curry? Or are you
I know
I
talking
you talking
about?
said
about Bronny. I know
I
you ain't
said
talking about Bronny.
Bronny.
I
Oh
thought
no,
I
I
said
heard
he
Bronny.
said Bronny.
that was a lie. I heard Bron. We ain't going with no Bronny. I'm sorry. He ain't no.
I said Bronny. Bronny. Bronny.
Now
You
I
know
don't.
what? He'll be a good role player. He'll come in, do what you ask him to
That's all.
do.
That's all Steph needs. That's
That's
all he
it.
Yeah.
needs.
He needs somebody
Yeah.
willing to pass up their own shot. Not
Yep.
me
That's
though.
it.
Not
And
me.
and, and, and Coach T, Coach T, I'm gonna go to the comments. Ben. He's been on it again tonight, like you. Jordan Poole and Draymond messed up everything, and I agree with Ben.
Yeah.
Them
They
two bad
Yeah.
fools messed up everything.
Now, I'm not saying I can't blame Jordan Poole as Draymond as the vet needs to be held accountable for that. And for the Warriors organization giving up Jordan Poole who does he make some ridiculous decisions on the court? Absolutely. But imagine if he would have been able to stay under Steph Curry's teachings for a few more seasons. It would be a totally different team that we're looking
Listen,
at.
Coach T, let me help you. Let me help you right here. The Golden State Warriors had a certain image that they had to portray with character and things like that with their players. They had to have one fool on the team, which was Draymond Green.
Can't have
That,
two.
that fool had a high IQ. I'm serious. So now you can't have two fools on the team with Jordan Poole. You hadn't won anything enough. You're a good player, true enough. You're a star. But however, you need to be like Steph, like the guy that just left went to Dallas. What's his name? The
Clay.
shooter, uh,
Clay.
Clay. Yeah,
Mhm.
Clay and those guys. So Jordan Poole, no, you can't be like Draymond. Draymond is the only fool on the team. Notice that they had to have one fool on the team, and that was Draymond. They couldn't have two fools,
Yeah,
and they was winning with that formula. Think about it.
And he's still there.
yeah. And now they're feeling the effects of when you hang on for something too long, then it comes back to bite you. Because truly Draymond, they should have let Draymond go a long time ago.
But where is he gonna go?
No way.
Now, Coach Mack, listen, that part, I Detroit, I don't know. Send them somewhere. But him staying that long, he overstayed his welcome with the Warriors. And just given the character, the questionable character, and just his antics. I mean, his antics literally ruined the Golden State Warriors. It dismantled their team. It absolutely
So, Coach
dismantled their
T, when they
team.
were winning all those championships, when they was winning all those championships, you didn't say one thing about antics, about character, or
Who
anything.
did?
You were
Who didn't?
celebrating right with them. I mean,
Who didn't? I don't know how Draymond made it this far. And honestly, I don't understand how the other players in the league let him get away with this.
That
Because
part,
you mean to tell me he hasn't, nobody did him like Chris Childs did Kobe? You can't tell me why is nobody two pieced him
or
up yet?
Ron Artest try
Come on
somebody
now.
like that.
Come on now.
Let's
I
try
don't
metal.
they're
He, he,
and Coach T, I understand what I'm telling you. Draymond is a fool. Nobody did he ever try Dennis Rodman, Charles Oakley, and all those
nope.
guys? No, Draymond didn't play.
I don't understand. I said, ain't there's no way that he ain't been hit with a two piece already, and he's made it this far doing all that. And Ben said, Coach T hates Dre. Listen, I don't hate him, but the antics that are just have nothing to do with basketball, I just cannot. I can't stand, and I can't get with it. But interesting enough, another player who might have to adjust to somebody else's system is Brad Beal, who has recently made waves recently that he'd be willing to waive his trade clause. And again, as a reminder for those that don't know, Brad Beal is one of two players in the NBA that have a full no trade clause in their contract, the only other player being LeBron James. Now, how he pulled that off, we still don't know. But he is willing to waive that to join the Bucks. And I just don't see
I
it.
call. Didn't Brad Bill change his name?
To what?
The magician.
That's what it
That guy
should
gets some
That was
magic on how he.
that was a knee slapper there, Riley. That was a knee slapper.
A good dad joke. We love a good
There's
dad
no
joke.
way. It's no way. There's no way how this guy got a no trade clause. He fooled. He tricked somebody. He did some
he,
hocus pocus. I mean, my good,
Come on
some
now.
abracadabra.
Now, Coach Mack, how do you see him fitting in? Mind you, they traded away their true point guard, Drew Holiday. They brought Dame Lillard, who's not a true point guard, more of a two guard. And now you would add another two guard and still don't have a true point guard. How does that
I,
team shape up?
that's gonna be a weird look because I just don't see how Bradley is gonna fit. First off, it already took Damon Lillard a while to adjust. So just imagine what it's gonna be like for Bradley to come in. Uh, mm, I don't like it, but hey,
If I'm Brad, who's battled with injuries, I'm not waiving my no trade clause. Because I waived that, and it's now a mystery out there. Do you see Brad able to compete at a high level in the NBA for the next, let's just say, 3 to 5 seasons?
nah,
Is that a
he's
risk that
no,
you're willing to
No
take?
way.
no, mm-mm, nope, nope.
So I think it'll be interesting. Another person that is on the radar is Coach Riley's boy, Jimmy Butler, who has is on the verge of
You
being
got jokes tonight. You got jokes tonight.
being suspended for another 2 games for missing the team flight. What?
How?
You have
I,
one
I I
job.
I don't understand. I really can't understand that. How you miss a flight?
At this point, Coach Mack, would you say
Well,
it's intentional?
That might be because I
Riley?
just don't see how you just miss a flight. Even me not being an NBA player at all, I'm nervous if I don't get to the airport. at least 3 hours in advance. So for you to have something just like designated time and everything, and you can just walk up, get on the plane, and you miss it, like I don't, that help me to understand because I don't.
He do not want to. There you go. That's it. But he does not want to be a part of the Heat team anymore. And what he's doing, he's really devaluing himself, and they just
Hmm.
showing his level of character and his level of team play. He just doing, and then he's doing it to a legend in Pat Riley, my uncle. You can't. I mean, you gonna mess yourself up. To be honest,
Yeah, that's definitely
Now,
not a good look.
do you think that this lowers his trade value?
I mean, the sun still
well,
be
his
hanging in
trade
there,
value was
so
low anyway. I think his trade value was low anyway. When I said low, he's older. He has short arms. He's a dog now, but he's not going to get what he think he should get. So I think he just make amends with with Pat Riley and try to salvage the season in some way.
Yeah, we shall see if he goes to the Suns. That's another sideways move, in my opinion, as the Suns have just been absolutely stinking it up. As they the most expensive
Now I did hear
roster. Go ahead, Coach Riley.
I did hear Camilo. I did hear Camilo say that he can add toughness to the Suns because they definitely need that. But in order to be tough, you got to have longevity, and I don't think he can last a long enough through practice and through games to let his toughness rub off on those other guys. It's just my opinion.
and
mm.
and rub off on KD, somebody who's pretty set in his style of play and his ways. How realistic is that? I don't see that.
It's not realistic at all.
Now, another interesting comment made about an NBA superstar by an ex-player, Brandon Jennings, recently made headlines that Jason Tatum is the softest superstar in Celtic history. And I wanted to hear what you guys thought about that.
They say he too light skinned.
What would possess Brandon Jennings to speak such a thing? Brandon, because how many championships does Brandon Jennings have?
Who?
Well, let me speak to that, Coach Mack. You
Please
know,
do.
softness uh, is an individual thing. Championships are team things. So I can see Brandon calling him soccer. Brandon is he has the curly hair like Jason, but he's not as light skinned as Jason, like like Coach Mack. But I know Brandon personally. When I was in high school coaching, Coach Mack, I don't know if you remember this. We almost beat Oak Hill. They beat us by two or three. And Brandon Jennings was a point guard. And he was a dog then. And he just he's not a superstar. He's a star. Jason Tatum is a superstar, but he's soft. And I agree with Brandon. He shows flashes, but when it's time to be go in dog mode, he doesn't
Yeah,
do it. I mean, he has talent to be a superstar, but he just don't have the other part. So I'm gonna call him a star with potential.
A star with potential. Coach Mack?
Yeah.
sure. Look, sure. Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, Jason's a good player, but I agree with Riley. He's not a superstar. He's
And
not somebody like I can just go and be like, ooh, he got that dog in him. No,
now,
no.
what is it about his game or his style of play, or what is it that doesn't get ring off the
He's
dog alarm?
I mean, he's just a finesse type player.
Let me,
So Yeah, that's just all it
Let
is.
me
I mean,
answer.
that's
Let
more
me
of
help
an
you. Let
attitude.
me help
That's
you,
a
Coach Mack.
personality trait there. That's not, you gotta want to be that.
So, so, so let me ask you this: Does Jason Tatum have a nickname?
I thought it was
Oh,
JT.
no, 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 no. Not like the old school players used to. No.
No, listen. Kobe is the Black Mamba. Michael Jordan is Black Jesus. Shaquille O'Neal is Diesel. So all these guys, they fear. You don't fear Jason Tatum. Oh, that's just
Nope.
a handsome fella. They can hoop. You know.
He pretty.
A handsome fella.
Look, he's so pretty. That's all you can say.
Okay,
No.
so you guys are in agreement. In agreement. Okay. I definitely feel like something's missing when I've asked this question or when I hear other people talk about it. Some even go as far to say that Jason's not the best player on the team. So, I think the fact that it's
He,
questionable,
he's the most he's the most talented. He has the most God given ability, but Brown probably is the toughest guy on the team.
I might have to agree with you tonight on that one, Coach Riley. Again, we might have found two things we agreed on tonight.
Look at y'all.
Okay, that's good.
We working with something. We working with something. Now, I want to talk about Coach Max boy real quick. Luca, who unfortunately is no longer eligible to receive any postseason awards, as the new NBA rule requires a 65 game minimum that you have to play in order to be eligible to receive postseason awards. And with him having the recent strain that he was suffering from, has now made him ineligible. This now becomes the fifth time in Luca's career where he has been favorited at the start of the season to be MVP and to win, a host of awards, and is not eligible. Now, what Coach Mac, I want to start with you because I know that's your boy. And one, I wanted to see your thoughts on that. And two, do you feel like the new NBA rule is fair?
I think they should exclude injuries when it comes to that. Obviously, that's what's happening to Luca at this point, which is why he's ruled out. I mean, you can't really control getting injured. Now, can Luca lose some weight? Just a little bit, because I know that plays a role in injuries too. But I think with the rule, they should at least exclude injuries and factor in other things that players do to not show up for games.
Okay. Okay. Coach Riley? Do you think the NBA rule is fair that you
Well,
have to play a 65 game minimum in order to be eligible?
I think it's fair. You should get your body in shape. Uh, and now, if it's a catastrophic injury, that's different. But
Hmm.
just a regular injury because you overweight,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna talk about Coach T's boy Zion, just because you had too many slabs of ribs and things like that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I believe it because you think about the real NBA. Jordan, them all those guys. Them guys play 80 games. They didn't miss all these games. I like that NBA rule. Get your
Hmm.
body in shape,
Speaking
and
of in shape,
especially what's the big guy name from Philadelphia? MB.
oh,
They
Oh,
need to put
oh,
that in his
God.
locker. 65 game minimum.
He needs that on a t-shirt, right?
y-
I'm playing
Exactly.
today.
y- goodness. And you know,
Exactly.
that's really Angel's boy, our amazing producer behind the glass. He's, a Philly native, but Embiid now has officially made it, what, 6 seasons that he has not played in Denver. Okay.
How can you pull that off?
The last time Embiid played in Denver was November 8th of 2019. Is this a
We,
coincidence?
we got to find. We got to find Angel a new boy.
Well, like a new team.
Yeah, and
Paul George,
he
Embiid.
need to appear. Angel need to appear from behind the scenes. Come on up, Angel. We need to help you out. Find you somebody else.
Got to recruit some more players for Angels because the Sixers, what they got, it ain't it.
Oh my
Listen,
gosh.
I'm tired of this jokester. I'm tired of hearing about Embiid. When the Denver Nuggets head coach calls you out, you know there's a problem. I'm so done. And I don't understand what Josh Harris, I know what Josh Harris' problem is. He's worried about the Commanders instead of worrying about the Sixers because Joel busted Embiid needs no longer to be with Philly, period. Even the mayor who can't spell the Eagles right knows that he doesn't need to be with Philly. Ridiculous.
Say it with your chest,
Everybody
Angels.
give
Say it with
Angel
your
some.
chest.
Y'all give him $2. We love it, Angel. We love it.
Now is Embiid ducking the smoke from Jokic? And if so, why? Why is he refusing to play in
You
Denver?
know why?
Or is
You
it
know that's what he is,
coincidence?
Coach T. He's
He,
afraid.
he don't want that smoke.
He doesn't. He
He don't
doesn't.
want that
He,
smoke.
he is completely afraid of anything related to Denver. He can't play at 5,280, yet alone he can't even play in Philly, which is probably like 2,100. So it's excuse after excuse on why he can't play and why the Sixers continue to believe, yet alone why the NBA doesn't do something about him and Paul George that apparently they can't run 3 games in a row per night. It's ridiculous. I'm so done with Joel Embiid. I'm so done. If he shows up on tomorrow's milk carton saying wanted, y'all can have him. I'm not worried about it. It's ridiculous. I'm out.
Thank you, Angel. We appreciate you jumping in to clear the air about where you stood with Embiid. But, speaking of why he might be ducking Jokic, Jokic just recently set a new NBA record for the most triple doubles in a row, 4 consecutive triple doubles without playing in the fourth quarter.
Too easy.
That's
Baby
amazing. That
food.
reminded me of Coach Mack when she was playing at Provine.
Just too easy.
Baby food.
And he don't even want to be there. That's what's
He
so
don't
sad. It's too easy. He don't even want to be there, and he's still getting these numbers.
Jokic
Easy.
said, "Don't remember me as a basketball player. Remember me as a father and as a man who loved his horses."
Them horses. Look. That's the highlight of his life.
The-
You
It'll
bring
be
out a
in
horse.
and and uh and your boy talking about he bored. I never seen it
listen.
before.
Listen, it's getting scary out there. It's getting scary out there. But wanting to change motion a little bit to some good that's happening as the Unrivaled League officially started last Friday. They streamed the first games, and I wanted to see what you guys thought. Coach Mac?
I love it. I love the concept. I don't know if anybody has gotten a chance to watch it. It is a 3-on-3 game, but they're playing full court in a sense. Well, it's not really full court, but I forgot the measurements of it. Um,
74 instead of 94.
yes, 74 instead of 94, but it still gives you a 5-on-5 feel, which is what I really like about it. The great thing about it is that you get to watch a mesh of players. So players that you wouldn't see obviously playing with each other. That has been like a wonderful thing to see. And it's making the game a lot more competitive, a lot more enjoying to watch, and it's way more physical compared to what you would see in the WNBA because the refs actually allow them to play. Imagine that. But yeah, the games have been really, really good, very competitive. I think the first game they had a sold out crowd of 900 people in the stands. They're playing in Miami, which is also exciting. So hopefully you guys get a chance to catch the games because they are like really fun to watch.
Nice. Now, do you see this as a way that some of the free agents will kind of find the new team that they'll
Oh
be playing
yes,
with?
this is
That's
starting to be like a
that's
recruiting spot.
exactly all they're doing, Coach T.
And you know what?
That's
They've
it.
talked about that. The players have actually the free agent players have actually talked about how this has been a great opportunity to be able to communicate with some of those and be able to find or a good way for them to find a team. So yes, that has been talks about from the players about how this is giving them this opportunity that they've never had before.
Mm. Now, do you see this league being sustainable?
I do. So this
Ex-
actually
no,
started. I do, and I'm gonna tell you why I do because they're steady having more people to invest in this league, which is
Hmm.
great. Um, and I know Riley gonna give his opinion, but anyway, so this Unrivaled actually started in 2022, I believe. Yeah, that's when it initially started. So obviously it has grown since then, clearly because of Caitlin, Angel, and all the above. So they help with the viewership when it comes to the WNBA. Caitlin is not playing in this, but you do still have players like Angel Reese and other celebrities, because that's basically what Angel is. I'm not going to even get on her game, but we'll leave that for another day. So you have other celebrities like Angel that's playing. But you still do have more and more people that's investing in this league. And then to think about the salaries that the players get to have, which is basically the max salary that the WNBA is giving. But they're actually being able to get paid, which
Mm.
is great.
Hmm.
So the fact that that's happening, I think they're probably going to try to put more into it, at least as far as investing into this league to expand it. So
Okay,
I think it's
and
going to grow.
I definitely can see the growth there. Now, real quick, Riley, before you give your opinion, I just have to rattle off this comment that I know you're gonna love. Mama Davis said, I enjoyed it. And Ben said, Coach T, you the best. Why does Mac and Riley have the same background? SMH. And let me tell you, Ben, that's because Coach Mac inspired Coach Riley tonight.
That's it. Look at that
hey, hey,
smile on
hey!
his face.
First, first of all, Coach Mack want to be like me.
Look at that
She
smile
used
on
to go
that
to the
face.
school I worked at. She wanted to be like me. First of all, and Coach Ben, you
I had
looking
to
too
be
close,
there.
my man. You looking too close. We from the same 2400 West Jackson now. We from the west side.
Now, Coach Riley, yes, your thoughts. Do you think Unrivaled is sustainable? I heard you say no. We want to know why do you think that?
Let me. I'm gonna answer that with a question. Why would you? Why? How could it be sustainable when it comes after the? I hear beans at 2400 all day. That's what I'm talking about. Being 2400. Uh, but the unrivaled league. How can it be sustainable when it's directly after the WNBA? Uh, so I mean, why would they watch it? I mean, it's during a time when college basketball is going, NBA basketball is going. Unless you just love women's basketball, I mean, now if Ice Cube was the promoter, I would say yes, it's sustainable. But since Ice Cube is not the promoter, I'm at to say I don't think it'll last.
Now,
So
you go ahead, Coach Mac.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was going to say you mentioned that, but what you're speaking about though is that opportunities for growth and being able to build on top of it. So, you mentioned Ice Cube being the promoter as he has the big three. Who's to say that this couldn't lead to other partnerships and expansion of ways that they can really get the league out there and also turn it into something that people want to watch?
Let me tell you why, Coach T. Anytime you with sports like this, and I'm gonna get serious for a second. If you have to go see if it's worth your while to invest in it, it's not sustainable. So all of those Ice Cube and all every entertaining entity had investors from the onset. Now, when you go out there and show your product, oh, I like that now. Now this is basketball. So if they're gonna invest in women's basketball, they would have did it on the onset. Not let me see a couple years, 3 years, 4 years. I might jump into it now. No, and thank God Caitlin Clark came about and Angel Reese as much as you hating on my cousin Angel, Coach Mac,
Look, she need
My
to get that
cousin
footwork
Angel
together
Reese.
because she's still looking the same, and we a whole year later. No,
Uh, she,
no,
she is she is the reason why the league is selling her and Caitlin Clark. You take them
she's a
two out, it'll be a
celebrity.
boring league.
She's a celebrity. Yes, she stay on social media than she more than she is in the gym. Her footwork still look like it did when she was at
She,
LSU. Help me to
Oh,
understand that.
she's
oh.
selling tickets.
No,
She's selling tickets.
and
She's
that's why
selling
I
gyms out.
consider her. That's why I consider her as a celebrity.
So we gonna say
Last
she's a
thing, and I'm
celebrity.
done, Coach T. Uh, uh, Last thing, to go to women's athletic events, I mean, WNBA games, they have to go for more than just basketball. That's why some people come because Angel uh, is a celebrity. Some people just want
Hmm.
to come just to see her outfit. Some people want to come and because they like her play. Some people watch her footwork like you. So it's just
Yeah.
so many different reasons why you come to a WNBA basketball game.
No,
But
I
see, here's the issue with that is that it took someone like Angel and Caitlin for this to be exposed. It's not like it
mhm.
wasn't already there. So again, I still think it is sustainable. Unfortunately, it took someone like Caitlin and Angel for people to actually realize, hey, women can play basketball and they're actually good. So I do see growth. I do
And
see
like my
this
boy Ben
expanding.
say, like, like my boy Ben said, Juju is on the way.
And
Yes, Juju, and even more players outside of Juju. You got Olivia. You know, you got what's the name that said Notre Dame? My girl, what's her name, brother? Because we were talking about her the other day. Um,
oh,
God,
not
I can't think of her
Hilda,
name.
Uh, She just
No, um, Hannah Hidalgo. That's her
Hannah.
name.
Hannah,
Yeah,
Hannah,
Yeah,
Hidalgo.
Hannah.
Yes.
Yes. So you got players like Hannah them
Hannah
coming up.
Montana.
So yes, I definitely see this growing when you got players like that. And let's talk about Sarah at UConn. So and she's just a freshman. So we got girls, and then let's talk about high school. You got the kid that's up in Texas, Chavez. I mean, come
Hmm.
on now. It we feeding it in. It's growth. It's coming. It's sustainable.
I definitely think the potential is there. And Coach Mack, you mentioned some of these players that are incoming. And I wanted to touch on the NIL, right? Because
Ooh,
recently a new rule is passed, and I think we'll start seeing a little bit more parameters put around NIL and pay to play and what that looks like. But if you could just touch a little bit on the recent rule change of NIL and how does this impact recruiting and teams that, let's say, maybe don't have the finances to be able to pay equally across the board.
yes, so Title IX is basically stating that NIL funds have to be distributed proportionally amongst all sports. Now, will that truly happen? Probably not, because it's not like it's governed by NCAA. As we all know, the two main sports that actually do make the most money will probably get the bulk of the money, which is football and basketball. But that is what the say is right now for NIL, as far as the funds supposed to be distributed proportionately amongst the athletic departments. Um, but we're hearing about. Go ahead,
Let me ask
Riley.
you this, Coach Matt. So if you got a company and Coach T averaging 12 points a game and I'm averaging 25 points a game, who you want advertising for your company, me or Coach T?
Now hold
It
on, Coach
depends.
Riley, because why you averaging 25 and I'm only averaging 12? But anywho, go ahead, Coach Mac. I think
But
that
what?
number,
But
flip that
but
number.
what if her 12 consists of 10 rebounds and 6 assists? I see her as an all
People
around
don't care
player.
about that.
And
People care about points. People care about points.
they do,
Strictly buckets.
People care about
they
points.
do, they do. But there are some that actually care about all around
But
players too.
let me say
But you're
this.
right.
Let me say this. What happens is this. There's two parts to that thing. You have the NIL, and not a lot of people are using NIL. What they're
Hmm.
doing is the collective piece. So the collective is where they're getting their money from,
Hmm.
and they calling and claiming that it's an NIL. But I hadn't
Hmm.
seen a lot of commercials. with a name, image, or likeness. What you're
Mm-hmm.
doing is getting that money through your that collective, and now businesses are partnering with colleges now. And I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
saw this, Coach T. Now they want to make it to where the fans can donate to get their favorite player. So just say, for example, we're LSU. If fans put up $5 a piece and say we want Coach T, we'll give you all their money. So they got so many different ways on trying to enhance NIL. But Title IX might well sit down and take several seats right now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's just no way. Right now, Coach Mac, I think we need to have a serious discussion on how do we become NIL agents, because the way that the money is about to start flowing,
There you go. There you
and
go.
and for people who could donate money in this economy for a player, I mean, are we too far gone?
We're talking about trust funds and everything starting to occur when it comes to NIL.
It is so far gone. And we just had a great question come in from Ben, but Ben, we'll have to answer that at the start of next week. Come back and join us next Wednesday as we have reached our time. It has been a great evening as always. This is probably the first conversation we've had where me and Coach Riley finished the night on the same page.
Calls for a round of applause.
Yeah. But yes, any closing words, Coach Riley, Coach Mac?
About time.
Just bye. That's all I can say after that. Just bye.
Yes.
Just bye.
Thank you all so much for joining us on Talking Hoops. We'll be back next week.
See you when I see you.
Stay tuned, and we'll see you all later.